Hey, Jordan with TYT Network. We're here in an emptying out Colorado State University. Senator Sanders spoke here. I'm with three lovely ladies. So was this your first event for Senator Sanders ever?
No, we saw him in Denver.
Oh, okay. So you guys are like groupies. I like it.
This guy here, he spoke at the March for Bernie in Boulder. He helped put it on.
Bernie actually gives the people motivation to actually get out and make a change. Because we're sick and tired of hoping, we're sick and tired of waiting for change. Bernie is actually the one who gets us out there, gets us motivated. Because there is absolutely nothing radical with America taking care of its citizens. Absolutely nothing.
You should use that line. That's pretty good. Do you think, the corporate media has already started with she beat him in South Carolina pretty bad. It's just a foregone conclusion at this point. How does Senator Sanders and his supporters kind of fight that narrative?
I think, if anything, it only made us stronger. Because it's like, all right, guys, if we don't get out and vote, this is what's going to happen. So it only encourages us and motivates us more to get out and to actually volunteer and to get people to show up to caucus. Because we'll win if people just show up and vote. That's all we have to do is just show up and vote.
The media is constantly trying to make it about Democrat versus the Republican when, and Bernie said in his speech, it's about the people. And at this point, it's about coming together, loving each other with compassion and with empathy, or allowing fear and hate to take over.
I think with Senator Sanders, I've been calling for it for a while. He likes to stay above the fray, not be negative. Tonight, I actually heard him pretty aggressive, more so than I've heard him before, asking for Secretary Clinton to release her speeches, basically saying, if you start out asking for a half a loaf, you get crumbs. Basically saying she's a status quo Democrat. Do you think he needs to do more of this? Basically saying, it's not talking in generalities about Wall Street, but pointing out her record and her vulnerabilities.
I think as long as he stays factual, then yes, I think absolutely.
It's the truth. Why hide the truth? Yeah. Why hide the truth?
It'll set you free. And
Let me get the fire in here.
The people need to know the truth. We're from the South, where a lot of people are unaware of what's going on. They don't know that Bernie is going to help. He is for the people, and the people, the fate of our nation depends on the people, and we have to bond together. We have to stand up. We have to rise up and take back this great country and make it ours again. And we're going to do that.
Be careful, you sound like Marco Rubio. Now, in a good way. No, you're much better. Now, what do you have to say to the establishment Democrats, the TV news pundits, a lot of elected Democrats who say, I appreciate your guys' idealism, but he's selling free stuff and a bill of goods and none of it's realistic?
It's absolutely realistic. What they're doing right now is robbing us of everything that we have and what we've worked hard for, and that's not what America is about, and it should be about helping the people. The bottom line is people.
Yeah, I have a message for the established Democrats.
It's not about free stuff, it's about helping our people and everyone coming together and having a support system so that we can make this work and everyone can live in a country where we don't have people dying on the street and starving and not having the proper health care they need. It's a country where we come together and everything doesn't have to be free, but it needs to be reasonable, and we need to help the people that don't have help.
Well, I think an interesting thing, you guys are around the college age, I would assume. If you're buried in a $100,000, $150,000 student loan for 20, 30, the rest of your life, you kind of can't go spend money.
You can't pump it back into the economy. Yeah. You cannot pump it back to the economy if you're paying all these healthcare bills, all these educational tuitions and everything. How the heck can you possibly pump money into the economy if you're just drowning in debt? There's no way. And America is drowning in debt right now.
Wait till they default on it. Default on that debt.
It's the next bubble, probably.
Right. You're going to be in big problems. Yeah.
And you think with Secretary Clinton, you've kind of seen over the last few weeks, months, I don't know, she kind of is cloning herself a little bit into Senator Sanders, but it seems like she's doing it very seamlessly where nobody was really calling her on it. Do you trust, if she were the nominee, that she's not going to go in there and essentially make centrist deals that lean right?
No, she works for Monsanto and Walmart and big companies, and yeah, she's just there for the money. And
have you been talking to Susan Sarandon? That's exactly what she said to me.
I love Susan Sarandon.
Yeah, she was good to us. So you basically, what I would think, if she's standing on a stage with Donald Trump, he could kind of go at those things because he can say, I'm not taking corporate money.
Well, he is not taking. He is the problem. It's not the corporate money. He's the one that is endorsing people too. He is the corporate money. He's the 1%.
I just mean politically, he could muddy the water because you can't really say that to Bernie Sanders across the way.
Well,
No.
they're going to bring up the fact that Trump donated to the Clinton Foundation.
Exactly.
That's going to be a big deal when it gets close to November. Yeah, it's going to be.
And Trump will say, she came to my wedding, and then it's all, the media moves on.
Secretary Clinton will go back to being Republican light like she did in the 90s and sell us all out again.
The Democratic Party is all about concession at this point, just conceding. I truly believe Bernie's loaf metaphor was the most apt metaphor in this instance. Was, we need to demand the whole loaf, and if you go in just asking for half the loaf, you're going to get crumbs. It's the rule of halves. It's every
Reach for the
organizer
stars.
knows this metaphor basically.
My awesome colleague Anna in LA for the Young Turks has she's infuriated when she sees videos with Hillary supporters. Not because they're Hillary supporters, but because they're essentially kind of resigned to the fact that, well, this is what we could get. Do you think this is like a older person thing, and younger people are like, fuck that? We've already accepted the bare minimum. Let me get some younger people. Sorry.
I'm not going to say that older people are only for Hillary, because there's definitely many people, the older generation, supporting Bernie Sanders. However, I will say the younger generation is not having it.
Google.
I mean, the younger generation has such access to information. We can go back in time and we can look at Hillary Clinton's record and see for our own eyes that there's been flip-flopping, there's not been consistency, and there's been concession, and she considers herself a moderate and a centrist above all else, basically, until this moment.
Let me just get a yes or no from all four of you. If Hillary Clinton becomes a nominee against Donald Trump, would you come out and vote for her? Just go with your heart.
I would protest for Bernie.
So you wouldn't vote for her?
I don't know.
I'm undecided at this point.
No, if you vote against me, I'm voting against you.
Yeah, I wouldn't vote for her. No.
So we got 2 definitely no, and 2 I'll tell you next Tuesday. Okay. I want to get to Trump because I think I've kind of seen a normal Susan Sarandon. I don't want to steal her line, but she's kind of said he's normalized race. And we were talking about it earlier. Normalized racism. Do you think even if Bernie becomes president, let's say, I mean, there's obviously a huge faction in this country that I don't want to say they're all hateful, but obviously they have some animus. How could Bernie, Hillary kind of bridge that? Because here, this is a very big vibe of we're all in this together. At those rallies, I'll tell you, that's not the case.
It's about peace. It's about bringing peace to the world, and it's about all of us coming together and being one. It's not about hating people because they're a different color than you or a different status quo. It's not about money. It's about coming together and all of us being one. And Trump is the exact opposite of that. Trump is hate. Trump is Hitler. Trump is bringing the country down. And Trump is a great representation of what's wrong with this country.
How do you think Trump's Hitler?
What was that?
How do you think Trump is like Hitler?
I mean, he's supporting racism and
Scapegoating.
yeah.
He's scapegoating. He's finding people he can pick on and scapegoat.
He's full of shit. I think he's just an entertainer. He's a reality show star. He tells people what they want to hear. He's appealing to the most ignorant and racist people in this country. And I feel like, honestly, like there's always going to be extremists. And I'm not going to say like there will never be any sense of racism, but what Bernie's doing and what people that want to fight racism are going to do is they're going to call out racism when they see it, and they're going to bring attention to it, and they're going to say, this is what's happening within the institution, this is what's happening within this situation, and this is how we have to address it. And like actually working with oppressed peoples to create a game plan for that.
I'm not quite ready to compare him to Hitler, but I think he's getting there.
But you wouldn't have thought Hitler would have done what he did to Germany in the beginning. People followed Hitler just like people are following Trump.
Right. And do you think you were just mentioning for the people, do you think it's obviously Hillary Clinton's not a racist, but I mean, just looking at it, $12 an hour is not enough money really to live on. And right now the minimum wage is $7. Do you think Bernie or collectively need to do a better job of highlighting? She's going to speak to African Americans, minority groups, but her policies are not really tailored for them.
Well, I would say you can't like talk to black people. You can't talk to like particular oppressed groups and say this is who you should vote for. Because I think you should just present the facts as they see them. And I think that the fact is that many groups, including African Americans, are severely affected by the minimum wage. I think that's a fact. That's a fact.
Incarceration and institutional racism with the political system, the criminal system, everything else too.
I'm from Alabama. Like the institutional racism there is unprecedented, and it's really saturated within the culture and the political climate. And we need people to continue to speak out and say, this is what's happening, this is what's wrong. Minimum wage is one of the many, many, many issues that is encompassed within that large umbrella.
I think you guys buried the lead. You all came up from Alabama here to caucus?
We actually, us two moved here to Boulder from Georgia last year. We recently met them at marches because we've all been involved in doing marches and going to rallies and stuff. So
We're from Alabama.
I moved here 4 months ago, got registered to vote because I was like, I have to vote.
And we met randomly.
yeah, we all met randomly at events. So.
And last question. I don't think you guys, but do you worry that there's going to be a little bit of a deflation in the Feel the Burn movement? Listening to the chatter that he got walloped in South Carolina on Super Tuesday. As it stands now, she's probably going to win a few more states. Are you worried that kind of the winds are going to come out of the sails a little bit?
It's not progressive in South Carolina. That's why we all moved to Boulder. Things are different here. And I mean, you can see the light here. Boulder is a movement, and if we spread that across the country, just like Bernie is, we can change people's mindset, even in the South.
Bernie's a phenomenon, not a candidate. He's got so much energy behind him because he's doing something so unusual. He's telling the truth, and that's hitting everybody really hard. And the more people are exposed to him, the further he's going to go, and he'll beat Trump because love is stronger than hate in the end.
I believe in just staying positive, paying attention to the issues, listening to his message. If you get bogged down in what the polls say, what the media says, especially, then you're going to get disillusioned. And
People should listen to the Young Turks, though.
Exactly. I actually love y'all. Y'all are great.
Yeah, I mean, I believe there's nothing radical about America taking care of its citizens. And I think as Bernie supporters that we all try to inspire without force.
Right.
We try to present the facts. We're not trying to mudsling. We're not trying to bring people down. We're just trying to inspire people. We're trying to enlighten people. Because if people know the truth will set us free, and we'll finally be the greatest country on earth. Because how the heck can you say that we're a Christian nation if at least 20 kids are living underneath the poverty line? There is absolutely nothing Christian about that. Absolutely nothing.
What do you do for a living?
I work retail.
You should run for office. Leslie, to you, are you worried about any wind coming out of the sails?
I am not, because I have seen firsthand the power of hope, the power of peace, the power of love, and inspiring other people. And I completely believe in the people of this country. I believe in you, and I believe in all of us. There's hope, and we can do it.
We're
we
not
just have
going
to
to
be
stop
together.
after the
No.
nomination.
No.
We are not going to stop. We're going to elect local representatives that will
Small government.
represent all of Bernie's ideas. Because like Bernie said, change starts from the bottom up.
Right.
And that's what's going to be important. So we're not going to stop.
Sorry, I got to come back to complete the circle. Are you going to vote for Hillary Clinton if she were to be the nominee versus Donald Trump? I gave you 10 seconds to decide.
Again, I'm undecided at this point. I think it's going to be like a within the moment decision, quite honestly.
Well, Bernie's going to win the nomination.
That's the thing. I'm not even giving myself the option to think that way.
Well, what I'm trying to do is give a face to if Hillary to win the nomination, if the Democrats are going to have a problem. Because
I'm so tired of the two-party system. I don't really consider myself a Democrat. I consider myself a progressive through and through. And I feel like, forcing people into this binary system is unfair, honestly. I mean, if Bernie could, he would run as an independent if he could even get any kind of traction whatsoever. It's frustrating.
still undecided?
I would be doing more research, but I am absolutely against Trump, and I think Trump is everything that's wrong with this country.
We say one thing, there's something absolutely wrong with this caucus system. It's disenfranchising, it's voter suppression. We've been out in
Things
Iowa
are,
caucusing,
it's crazy.
and it's impossible for the majority of people to get there, whether we win or lose. There's something very flawed with the system.
Maybe they don't even want to come out because they don't know what the hell it is.
That's possible, and a lot of people don't understand. They say, I'm for Bernie, but I'm not going to caucus. Well, you don't quite get what caucus means. So there's the Iowa and the rest of this caucus is like the Florida 2000 election. You know, it's a big problem. There's lots of things, very disorganized, lots of like quick, to the draw and flip a coin kind of stuff. It's not democracy. That's got to be addressed, be more professional.
Coloradans, call your congressman. Get this changed. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.